She was just one human among thousands of alien cadets. Everyone thought she was weak. Everyone mocked her. But when the survival mission became a death trap, and their own commander decided to kill them all, then all eyes turned to that small human cadet. Maya Chen did what no one thought possible. She demonstrated to the entire academy why Earth's children are the galaxy's most formidable warriors. One stalker monster, one crashed shuttle, and one psycho commander. Maya defeated them all and did the impossible. This is a story of courage, revenge, and a human who silenced everyone. Keep watching HFY Horizon. The Kralix Battle Academy floated above the crimson storms of Vexor Prime, a fortress of steel and dominance where the galaxy's elite warriors trained. Commander Zalthra, a towering Dravine with obsidian scales and 4 arms, stood before her newest cohort of cadets. Her yellow eyes swept across the assembled recruits with predatory focus. "Weakness has no home here," she announced, her voice carrying like a thunderclap through the massive training hall. "You will break, or you will become something greater. There is no third option." Among the 200 cadets stood Maya Chen, the only human in a sea of alien physiology. At 5'6", she barely reached the chest plates of the Krover warriors beside her. Their crystalline exoskeletons glinted under harsh fluorescent lights. The insectoid Vorics clicked their mandibles in what passed for laughter. Even the liquid form Aquarians seemed to bubble with amusement at her presence. "Look at the soft skin," hissed Karvath, a Krovar with particularly jagged armor plating.
Does someone bring their pet?
His companion, a hulking Dravine named Torex, bared 3 rows of serrated teeth. "Humans break so easily. I heard their bones snap like dry twigs." Maya kept her expression neutral, though her jaw tightened imperceptibly. She had heard variations of this garbage for 3 months since arriving at the academy. The insults ranged from creative to pathetically unimaginative. "Silence," Zalthra commanded, and the hall fell into immediate quiet. "Today begins your survival trial. You will enter the Crimson Wastes below. You will retrieve a beacon from the center of the storm fields. You will return alive, teams of 5. Choose now." The cadets immediately began forming groups. Maya watched as Krovar clustered with Krovar, Dravine with Dravine. The Verics formed their own hive-minded squad. Within seconds, everyone had partnered up except her. Well, Karvad approached with his squad of 4. "Looks like the human cub needs a pack to survive, or we could leave it behind," Torix suggested. "Natural selection and all that." Maya smiled sweetly. "I appreciate your concern, gentlemen, but I work better alone anyway." Zaltra's head snapped toward her. "There are no solo missions, Cadet Chen. The wastes require teamwork." "Then I'll take the 0, Maya replied calmly. "Better than slowing down a team that clearly doesn't want me." A ripple of shock passed through the assembled cadets. No one challenged Zalthra. No one volunteered for failure. The commander's eyes narrowed. "Your arrogance will be your undoing, human. But very well. You will go alone. When you fail, perhaps the others will learn from your mistake." 30 minutes later, Maya stood at the drop point, checking her environmental suit. The other teams had already deployed, their shuttles disappearing into the rust-colored tempest below. The Crimson Wastes earned their name from the iron oxide particles that turned the atmosphere into a grinding, abrasive nightmare. Visibility would be near 0. Communication would be impossible due to electromagnetic interference. Navigation required old-fashioned dead reckoning. "Any last words before your inevitable rescue?" Kravoth called from his team's shuttle. Maya pulled on her helmet. "Yeah. Try not to cry when I beat your time." She jumped before he could respond, plummeting into the maelstrom. The wastes hit her like a physical wall. Her suit's shields flared as particulate matter hammered against her. The HUD inside her helmet immediately scrambled, then rebooted into auxiliary mode. She had maybe 40 fortunality. Good enough. Maya deployed her glider wings and caught a thermal updraft, riding it deeper into the storm. The beacon signals were deliberately scattered to prevent easy acquisition. She would need to locate 3 relay points to triangulate the final position. 2 hours in, she found the first relay. It sat perched on a crystalline outcropping that jutted from a floating rock formation. As she landed, her motion sensors pinged. Something big moved in the crimson haze. A waste stalker emerged from the storm, 8 legs of chitinous death, each tipped with blades that could pierce starship hulls. Its eyeless head swiveled toward her, sensing vibrations and heat signatures. Of course, Maya muttered, drawing her plasma cutter. The tool was meant for emergency evacuations, not combat, but she had modified it extensively during her sleepless nights in the dorms. The stalker lunged. Maya rolled under its strike, feeling the air pressure change as its leg blade passed millimeters from her helmet. She came up firing, the plasma cutter sending a focused beam into the joint of its front leg. The creature shrieked, a sound like tearing metal, and pivoted faster than something that size should move. Maya had studied the stalkers in the Academy archives. Everyone else focused on their strength and speed. She had noticed something different. Their blood chemistry included a high concentration of potassium, highly reactive potassium. She fired again, this time targeting the wound she had already created. The plasma superheated the leaking fluids, and the resulting explosion severed the leg entirely. The stalker staggered, ether spraying in pulsing gouts. Biochemistry beats brute force every time, Maya said, moving in for a finishing strike, except the stalker had a partner. The second creature hit her from behind, sending her sprawling across the rocks. Her helmet cracked, warning lights flooding her vision. The suit's integrity was compromised. She had maybe 10 minutes before the abrasive storm shredded her lung. Both stalkers closed in, sensing weakness. Maya's mind raced. She grabbed the relay device and yanked it free from its mounting. The device contained a compact fusion cell, stable under normal circumstances, extremely unstable if damaged. She threw the relay between the advancing creatures and shot it mid-flight. The explosion vaporized both stalkers and nearly knocked Maya off the outcropping. She clung to the rocks, ears ringing, and watched chunks of carapace rain down through the crimson fog. That worked better than expected, she gasped, then started running. 10 minutes to find shelter and patch her suit. The clock was ticking. She found a cave system in a canyon wall and sealed herself inside with emergency foam. Her patch kit was basic, but she managed to stabilize the helmet's integrity. The heads-up display flickered back to partial operation. Outside, through the cave entrance, she saw lights approaching through the storm. A shuttle, moving erratically, is clearly damaged. It crashed into the canyon floor with a grinding impact. Maya's instincts warred with her pragmatism. Whoever was in that shuttle was probably dead. Going out there would waste time and risk her mission, but something nagged at her. She pulled up the shuttle's identifying markers through her suit's scanner. It was Carvoth's team. Damn it, she whispered and headed out into the storm. The shuttle's hull had breached. Inside, she found Carvoth trapped under collapsed bulkhead plating, his crystalline armor shattered in 3 places. Twarax lay unconscious, bleeding from a head wound. The other 3 team members were dead. Carvoth's eyes focused on her with disbelief.
You! Why are you here?
Shutting you up so I can concentrate, Maya snapped, assessing the situation. The bulkhead pinning him weighed at least 800 pounds. She couldn't lift it, but she could lever it. She used debris from the crash to construct a makeshift fulcrum, then employed a support beam as a lever. Physics did the rest. The bulkhead shifted enough for Carvoth to drag himself free. You saved me, he said, clearly struggling with the concept. Don't get emotional, Maya replied. Can you walk? He tested his legs. Barely. Twarax needs medical attention. Then let's move. I passed a mining station about 2 clicks back. It should have supplies. You're still trying to complete the mission? Carvoth asked incredulously. Maya smiled grimly. Multitasking is a human specialty. They made slow progress through the wastes, Maya supporting Twarax while Carvoth limped behind. The mining station was abandoned but functional. She accessed the medical bay and stabilized Twarax's injuries, then hacked into the station's navigation system to pinpoint the remaining relay locations. You didn't have to help us, Carvoth said quietly as she worked. No, Maya agreed. I didn't. Then why? She paused, fingers hovering over the console. Because leaving people to die is what cowards do. And I'm not a coward. Carvoth's expression shifted, something like respect flickering across his features. I underestimated you, human. Yeah. You did. Don't feel special. Everyone does. She finished the calculations and stood. The final beacon is 15 clicks northeast. There's a transport here we can use. We can all finish this together, or I can drop you off at the academy and go alone. Your choice. Carvoth struggled to his feet. We finish together. We owe you that much. The transport lifted off, cutting through the crimson storm. Maya piloted with steady hands, navigating by instruments and intuition. Beside her, Karvoth monitored their trajectory, while Torex recovered in the medical bay. They reached the beacon's location just as 3 other teams converged on the same site. The prize sat atop a towering spire of rock, a pulsing blue light in an ocean of red chaos. "This is going to get complicated," Maya observed. Then the spire exploded, not from natural causes. Someone had sabotaged it, and as the beacon tumbled into the abyss below, Maya saw something that made her blood freeze. Commander Zalthra's personal shuttle emerged from the storm, weapons hot, targeting all the cadet teams. This was never a training exercise, Maya realized. This was an elimination. The commander's voice crackled over open comms, cold and precise. "Only the strongest survive, cadets. Consider this your final exam." Zalthra opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked through the crimson atmosphere, and 3 shuttles exploded instantly. Maya threw their transport into a screaming dive, barely avoiding the initial salvo. Beside her, Karvoth gripped his restraints, eyes wide with shock. "She's trying to kill us," he breathed. "Astute observation," Maya snapped, rolling the transport through a canyon passage. "Any other brilliant insights? But she's our commander, and apparently a homicidal lunatic. Keep up." Maya's mind raced. The transport was unarmed and barely armored. Zalthra's military-grade shuttle could swat them from the sky without effort. They needed an advantage, and the beacon, Torax said from behind them, having dragged himself to the cockpit. "It's still transmitting. I'm picking up its signal." Maya glanced at the readings. The beacon had fallen into a network of underground caverns, probably the old mining complex she had researched in the Academy archives. "If we can reach it first, we might have leverage, or we'll be trapped underground when she collapses the tunnels," Karvoth pointed out. "You're welcome to bail out any time." He met her gaze. "I think I'll stick with the human. You seem to have a knack for surviving impossible situations." Maya brought the transport down hard, skidding across a landing platform outside the cavern entrance. They were running before the engines fully powered down. Zalthra's shuttle descended behind them, methodical and inevitable. The caverns were a maze of passages carved by ancient water flows and subsequent mining operations. Maya's suit sensors mapped their route as they descended, following the beacon's signal deeper underground. Behind them they heard the distinctive hum of powered armor. Zalthra was coming, and she wasn't alone. "Contact," Karvoth warned, his enhanced hearing picking up movement ahead. They rounded a corner and found themselves facing the remaining cadet survivors. 15 others had made it to the caverns, battered and terrified. A Varix named Shrixtal clicked forward, mandibles quivering. "The commander has gone insane," she chittered. "She's hunting us like animals." "Not insane," Maya corrected. "Strategic. Someone doesn't want this class to graduate. The question is why." A Dravine cadet, younger than the others, stepped forward. "I may know. 2 months ago, I overheard Zalthra arguing with the Academy directors, something about budget cuts and class size reductions. She was furious, so she decided to solve the problem permanently." Torex growled, "Blame the casualties on a training accident." The pieces clicked together in Maya's mind. She's not just eliminating cadets, she's proving a point, that her training methods are too harsh, that the Academy needs to return to her traditional approaches. A few dead recruits, and she gets to reshape the program. "We're collateral damage in a political fight," Karvoth said bitterly. Maya's jaw set. "Not if we stop her." "How?" Shrixtal demanded. "She has superior firepower, armor, and training. We're just cadets." "She has arrogance," Maya countered. "And we have numbers. Plus, we're standing in a mining complex. That means explosives, machinery, and infrastructure we can use." She pulled up the cavern schematics on her suit display. "This entire area is unstable. Those support columns are barely holding the ceiling. If we can lure her into the right position and trigger a collapse, we win. Trap her. That's suicide." Someone protested. "We'll be caught in the collapse too, not if we're smart about it." "Torex, you said you trained in demolitions before transferring here?" The big Dravine nodded slowly. "Basic certification. Good enough. I need you to rig charges on these 3 columns. Set them for remote detonation. Karvoth, take half the group and create a distraction down the eastern passage. Make noise, make her think we're panicking. Everyone else with me. We're going after that beacon." They moved quickly, splitting into teams. Maya led her group deeper, trusting the others to execute their roles. The caverns grew narrower, the walls pressing close. The beacon's signal strengthened, guiding them to a central chamber where it lay nestled in a pool of crystallized mineral deposits. Maya picked it up carefully. The device was still functional, its data core intact. Whatever information it contained, someone had wanted it destroyed badly enough to sabotage the entire mission. Got it, she called over comms. Chirax, status, charges set, ready on your signal. Karvoth, we've drawn her attention. She's coming your way with 2 armed drones. Move fast. Maya secured the beacon and led her team back toward the main chamber. They could hear the mechanical whir of the drones now, accompanied by the heavier footfalls of Zalthra's powered armor. The commander emerged into the chamber like an avatar of destruction. Her armor gleamed black and silver, weapon systems humming with lethal potential. She surveyed the assembled cadets with those cold yellow eyes. Clever, Cadet Chen, she said, voice amplified through external speakers, but ultimately futile. Hand over the beacon, and I might make your deaths quick. Counter-offer, Maya replied, stepping forward. You power down that armor, surrender yourself for court-martial, and maybe we don't bury you alive. Zalthra laughed, a harsh bark of contempt. You think you can threaten me, human? You're as delusional as you are weak. Funny thing about humans, Maya said conversationally. We're really good at breaking things everyone assumes are unbreakable. She triggered the detonator. The charges exploded simultaneously, and 3 support columns disintegrated in blooms of fire and flying rock. The cavern ceiling groaned, a deep rumbling that resonated in their bones. Zalthra looked up just as tons of stone began to fall. Run! Maya screamed, and they scattered. The collapse was catastrophic and beautiful. The entire central chamber folded inward, crushing Zalthra's drones instantly. The commander herself barely activated her armor's shield in time, creating a protective bubble as debris rained down. But the shield wouldn't hold forever under that much weight. Maya and the survivors retreated through prepared escape routes, racing ahead of the cascading destruction. They emerged into an adjacent cavern system just as the main chamber sealed itself behind a wall of rubble. Silence fell, broken only by their ragged breathing and the settling of disturbed stone. Did we kill her? Someone asked. No, Maya said, monitoring her suit sensors. Her suit's transponder is still active, but she's trapped. She'll run out of air in maybe 6 hours. Plenty of time for rescue teams to dig her out and arrest her. Karvoth approached, his expression complex. You planned that perfectly. Every variable accounted for. Not perfectly, Maya admitted. I miscalculated the collapse radius by at least 10 meters. We were lucky. Luck favors the prepared. Thorax rumbled, clapping her on the shoulder hard enough to stagger her. You saved all our lives, human. Shirk's toll clicked in agreement. We owe you everything. Maya felt heat rising in her cheeks. You all executed the plan I just coordinated. You did more than that, Karvoth said quietly. You showed us what leadership actually looks like. They made their way to the surface, emerging into clearer air as the storm finally broke. Rescue shuttles were already inbound, alerted by their distress signals. The Academy directors would have questions. There would be investigations, tribunals, and restructuring. But they had survived. 3 weeks later, Maya stood in the Academy's main hall, now packed with media representatives from across the galaxy. The tribunal had concluded. Zalthra was facing charges of attempted murder, conspiracy, and abuse of authority. The Academy's entire command structure was under review. Fleet Admiral Korith, a distinguished Korvar with ceremonial markings, addressed the assembly. Todaya, we recognize exceptional courage under extraordinary circumstances. Cadet Maya Chen, please step forward. Maya approached the podium, acutely aware of every eye upon her. For your actions in the Crimson Wastes, Korith continued, demonstrating tactical brilliance, selfless bravery, and true leadership, you are hereby awarded the Star of Valor and promoted to squad leader effective immediately. The hall erupted in applause. Maya accepted the medal, its weight substantial in her hands. As she returned to her position, Karvoth leaned close. So, Squad Leader Chen, what's your first order? Maya smiled. How about dinner? I'm buying. Trying to poison us with human cuisine? Thorax teased. Scared of a little hot sauce? Their laughter echoed through the hall, genuine and warm. Around them, barriers that had seemed insurmountable weeks ago had crumbled. The other cadets no longer saw her as different. They saw her as she truly was. A soldier, a leader, and a friend. That evening Maya found herself on one of the Academy's observation decks, watching Vexa Prime's twin moons rise through the viewport. Garvoth joined her, moving quietly despite his bulk. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked, then added, "Is that the correct human expression?" "Close enough," Maya said. "I was just thinking how strange this all feels. A month ago I was the outsider everyone wanted gone. Now I'm supposed to lead them. You earned it through action, not politics. That matters, does it? Will the next human who applies here face the same treatment I did?" Garvoth considered this. Maybe. Probably. Old prejudices die slowly. But you've opened a door. You've proven what humans can achieve when given the chance. That's a legacy that outlasts any individual bias. Maya turned to face him. "Is this your way of apologizing for being a complete jerk when we first met?" He had the grace to look embarrassed. "I was a fool. I judged you based on ignorance and arrogance. I'm sorry. Apology accepted. Just don't do it again." "Never," he promised, and she believed him. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the cosmos wheel overhead. In the distance she could see other cadets gathering in the recreation areas, forming bonds that would carry them through whatever challenges lay ahead. "You know," Garvoth said eventually, "there's something I've been meaning to ask you." "Go ahead." "That modified plasma cutter you used against the stalkers, the biochemistry analysis, the strategic thinking under pressure. Where did you learn all that?" Maya smiled softly. "Earth, we're a death world. Remember? Everything there tries to kill you from the moment you're born. You learn to adapt, to think creatively, and to never give up. Humans don't have natural armor, claws, or telepathy. We have ingenuity and stubbornness. Lots and lots of stubbornness. Remind me never to visit your homeworld. Oh, it's lovely this time of year. Killer hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and the occasional asteroid impact."
"Very relaxing,"
he laughed, the sound rich and genuine. "You're insane, probably, but I'm your squad leader now, so you're stuck with me. I can think of worse fates." As the night deepened, more cadets filtered onto the observation deck, drawn by some unspoken need to be together. They had survived the unsurvivable, faced death, and emerged victorious. That created bonds stronger than steel. Maya looked around at these beings from a dozen different worlds, each unique, each valuable. She had come to this academy alone, an outsider, a curiosity. She was leaving it with a family forged in fire, and somewhere in the depths of her heart she felt a fierce pride, not just in herself, but in all of them. They had chosen to stand together when it mattered most. They had rejected the poisonous legacy of their corrupted commander and built something better. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more training, harder tests, and the long road toward becoming the warriors the galaxy needed. But tonight they could simply exist together, survivors and friends, watching the stars wheel through the endless dark. "Hey, Maya," Turex called from across the deck. "Tell us a story about Earth." "Something terrifying," she grinned. "How much time do you have?" As her voice rose above the gathered crowd, weaving tales of a blue planet where apex predators hunted in organized packs, where microscopic organisms could fell giants, where the very atmosphere was toxic to most galactic species, the cadets listened in fascinated horror. And Maya Chen, the human who had been mocked as weak, who had been dismissed as prey, who had proven herself stronger than any of them imagined, felt truly at home for the first time since leaving Earth. The galaxy was vast and strange, filled with wonders and terrors, but tonight on this observation deck, surrounded by friends who had become family, she understood a fundamental truth. Humanity belonged among the stars. Not despite their